It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here's your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
As I was walking down the street one day.
Welcome in on a rainy Tuesday morning. We got lots of basketball coming up. This is like the quietest day we've had in a long time, right? All we can do is speculate who's staying, who's going for the U of M. Tomorrow, big day, NBA countdown. Stephen A. Smith is in. Did you see, and I'll get to this in a second, what Kevin Durant said about Ja and about the Grizzlies? Woo, baby. Respect. Respect. That's all I can say about that. I want to thank the folks at the Amateur Sports Hall of Fame. Last night was their 51st banquet, and I'm lucky enough to MC it every year. And last night was special. There were a lot of special people that were inducted into this 51st hall. There were 400 people that went to this banquet. 400. They do it just so nice. In the Hilton, they've redone that big ballroom in there. It looks fantastic, much lighter, very classy, very classy. Some of the people that got in, I just think the world of. One, it was so good to see David Gossett. You remember David Gossett, the 1999 U.S. Amateur Champion.
Went to my alma mater, St. George's Independent School.
Is that right?
That's right.
I remember him. I thought he went to Christian Brothers.
Well, but this was before St. George's was a middle and high school. It was just the elementary school.
Oh, I see. So you went to the elementary at St. George's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What a good guy. First off, he's no longer in the game of golf, which is sad for me, but not for him. He's very happy. He has a lovely wife, 4 children, moved from Austin to Nashville. He's in commercial real estate now. And seems to be doing really, really well. He's very happy, and I think he was so happy to be inducted. And you got to realize, he's the 1999 U.S. Amateur Champion. He won a PGA Tour golf thing, but that Pebble Beach U.S. Amateur is his greatest moment. He says that himself. The thing I'll always remember, I just cannot believe this, but between his freshman year at Texas and graduating from Christian Brothers, on a Friday at TPC Southwind, the kid shot a 65. He was on the leaderboard. He's, 18 years old? Unbelievable. And it just shows you how hard golf is. Because if you're a U.S. amateur, and you, by the way, were the low amateur at the Augusta, you were the low amateur at the Scottish Open, you're paired with Tiger Woods at the British Open, you're paired at a U.S. Open with Jack Nicklaus. These are some pretty impressive things, right? And and even he finished second in one tournament, and he won, I want to say, in Silva, Illinois.
He won at the John Deere.
Yeah, that's in Silva.
Silva, okay, yeah, TPC Deere Run.
Yeah. That's amazing. And yet, here you go, he's out of the game. It's just so hard to make it on the PGA Tour. And most of the time, U.S. Amateur champions do. But it's so hard. It was good to see because his sister was a great golfer, Joni, and she's the mother of a 5-year-old, and she's a nurse. She's doing well. It's a terrific family. Congratulations to them. My partner on radio for the Tiger broadcast, Matt Dillon, got in. It was good to see him and his family, and even friends like former Tiger football player Gary Farr came all the way from Houston for that. That was really a nice touch. In Regina Street, she got in. I don't know if you remember Regina Street. She's a little before your time. She played for the Lady Tigers and Mary Lou Johns in the early 80s. I'm going to say 81 to 85, if I recall correctly. And she has a special place in my heart because she's truly the first Tiger star I ever called on radio. I did the Lady Tigers in 1983. She and Diane Jones, who ended up marrying Keith Lee, that tandem was incredible. And they had Kim Duppins, Linda McKinney. I mean, they were really a good team. And I'm pretty sure that year they did go to the NCAA. Just classy, classy lady. She played in 15 different countries over time in Europe. She won a championship in Italy. I think they finished second in France at the highest level. How deserving is that? The Lifetime Award, the Larry Finch Award, went to Jim Hines, the ECS coach who passed away a little bit earlier. His son Steve, who's also a coach, was on hand to get it. That was outstanding. Dwight Boyd got in. You know, Dwight, who's now chief of staff for the U of M basketball program. He was on those great teams with Keith Lee and Doom Haynes. He was just an outstanding player. Averaged 15 points his senior year. Went to the NCAA, I think, almost every year. His record was, I think it was 105-30. You know what the Tigers were in his 4-year career at home? This is amazing. 62-5 at home over his career. It's just great stuff, that is for sure. And I found this interesting. There was a swimmer. Dan Richards is his name. He is, and I never heard of the sport until last night. He is what they call an open seas marathon swimmer. So you
go out around the buoy and you come back.
You go around Manhattan Island, 28.5 miles. He did this Tampa thing. He actually was in the water 11 hours and 5 minutes. So he's completed what they call the Triple Crown. He's only the 41st person ever to do it. He's the 12th over 50 to do it because he didn't get into this until he was like 57. His name is Dan Richards. So the Triple Crown is, and I'm doing this off the top of my head, trying to remember the notes that I read last night. But there is the Gibraltar, Rock of Gibraltar. That's like 22 miles or whatever it is. You go around that. There's the Manhattan swim. You go all around Manhattan. That's the 28.5 miles. And there's the English Channel. So you swim across, right? That's 21 miles. Only 41 human beings have ever accomplished doing all three of those, and he is the 12th to do it that is over 50. And he's a Memphian, and what a good deal. That was cool. You know who Jeff Webb is, by any chance?
I do not know Jeff Webb. Universal
Cheer. He's the one that started it. So he's an interesting guy. I never had a chance to talk to him. But so I want to say it was like in the late 70s, maybe mid-70s, Jeff started really organizing cheerleading events. So Universal Cheer is the company that puts together the competitions on ESPN. He's become an ESPN commentator. He's done like 200 events on ESPN. But, he's a Memphis guy that really started this company. And it began just as organizing cheerleaders. And his point was we need to do more than just get the crowd into a game, right? Let's make it entertaining. Let's make it athletic. And then we can do competitions. And, oh, by the way, here's a fantastic clothing line that we can put out of this. And let's get associations involved. He was a visionary. I mean, it's really outstanding stuff that he has done. And he got in. So congratulations. There were 15 of them. I don't mean to leave anybody out. Harry Burnham got in. James Seivert, who unfortunately the coach from the Memphis area, I'm trying to remember the high school now, but that he was most associated with. Like Harry still will do some stuff at Craigmont. He was the Trezvon coach. The guy from, oh my goodness, beat Florida for us.
I wish I could help.
Q. His name will come to me. Or somebody text us on the AutoZone text line at 901-360-8255. Anyway, he coached him. and Seibert just passed away like 19 days ago. This guy was incredible. He was a Tennessee football player. He passed away at the age of 96. He was the oldest letter winner still alive at that point from Tennessee football. He started his freshman year. World War II broke out. He went and served in World War II, came back, and was a freshman again. So it's like he was a 4-year freshman at Tennessee. And then went on to become the winningest coach. Maybe Tech. I can't remember exactly which high school that he spent the majority of his time with. But, wow. I mean, what a class it was for sure. Goldie Terrell got in as a game official. Just amazing. Booster Kinsley hit like 1,500 home runs in softball and batted over 700 all over the country. Great story. He was honored. I mean, just great guys in there. There's a great organization, the Amateur Sports Hall of Fame. It was a great night last night, about 400 people. Penny was there. Penny actually called me and was talking about getting in. He goes, "Now, Dave, I don't want anybody to know I'm doing this. I'm going to just try to slip in." I said, "Coach, you're 6'7". You're pretty recognizable. I don't think it's going to be possible." And it wasn't. When he came in, the president, Paul Holt of it, mentioned, just said, "Hey," and we got Penny Hardo, and Penny was there because of Dwight Boyd, and he knows Regina Street. He knew David Gossett. They had a nice long conversation. Maybe he was asking him, "Who's coming back, Coach? Who's coming back?" But when he was announced, I mean, this had to be heartwarming for Penny. And I felt so good for Penny. Because Penny really was a last-second thing that he decided to come. And the entire room stood up and gave him a standing ovation. How about that? That was really nice. It was a nice moment. We got a busy show today. Tim Doolin on baseball coming your way. And then we'll try to spend a little extra time. We'll do a little shorter version with Timmy, because we got to talk NCAA tournament with Mike DeCourcy in the Sweet 16. And
the leading bracketologist this year, percentage-wise, right? He had the most corrects. Yeah.
Well, we already gave him his props on that.
That's right.
You don't want his head to get too much bigger, do we?
That's right.
I mentioned earlier, it's a big day tomorrow because NBA Countdown is here. Stephen A. Smith is here. Apparently, Stephen A. Smith loves the food here, and he's not a barbecue guy. It's the soul food that he likes. At least that's what I read. And he says when he sees Ja, he gets depressed. You may go, "Wolo, why would you get depressed watching Ja?" Because he likes Ja. He likes Ja a lot. And so I didn't know this. I knew he was from New York, but I didn't know because I thought maybe he'd be a 76ers fan because Philly was – he worked for the Inquirer for years before he became a big star with ESPN. Somebody told me, I believe he's the highest paid ESPN personality.
That is
Stephen A.
correct.
Smith. Wow.
That is correct.
But he said he's a native New Yorker and his heart is with the Knicks. He loves the New York Knicks. And so in that draft, Zion was 1, Ja was 2, and he wanted Ja. And the Knicks had the 3rd pick. Now, they did okay. Who's the guy they picked?
It was
the guy from Duke.
R.J. Barrett.
R.J. Barrett. So, that's not – R.J. Barrett's having a good year.
He is. An excellent year.
R.J., he's not Ja. He's certainly not Zion either. Of course, who's Zion? You think Zion, it was announced yesterday Zion's not playing the rest of the year.
The rest of the season.
Rest
How
of
about
the season.
that?
So, how many games did he play last year?
17, I think, is the number I always hear. Let me make sure.
I mean, do we hear Sam Bowie?
Oh, no, I'm way off. 61 last year, 24 the year before.
Oh, okay, 24 the year before. So, he played 61. That's pretty good.
It's not bad, actually.
Yeah. So, a total of 85 games, if I do my math correctly, in 3 years. Mm-hmm. Now, go look up Ja. Let's see how many games Ja has played so far in his career. I don't know if Zion is going to be a bust. I really do not.
Ja's played 186 games in his career.
So roughly triple the amount of Zion.
That's right.
And did the Grizz make the playoffs last year? Oh,
They did.
Did the Pelicans?
They did not.
No, I don't think so. I don't know if Sam Bowie's going to be the sort of title that we put on Zion? And I hope not,
I hope
because
not,
we
too.
do know how good Zion can be. Seriously, his freakish athletic ability at his size is LeBron-like. I mean, it's rarefied air. But if you look at that body type, and I can't remember who was saying this, but they really painted the picture perfectly. The reason, even if you were the Pelicans, that you could have considered Ja was look at the bodies. Because if a guy has trouble with weight when he's 18 years old or 19 years old, what's it going to be like when he gets to be 28 or 29? Real struggles. Ja doesn't have it in his genes to be heavy. You're never going to have that issue with Ja. And the Pelicans maybe should have taken that into account, but who could have seen it would be this injury-plagued? I don't know. But I am glad that it's the Grizzlies that ended up with Ja. So here is what Kevin Durant was saying yesterday about Ja and about the Grizzlies. Did you listen to any of this?
I have.
It's fantastic. I mean, he goes, all superstars play like 3 or 4 different guys, depending on what the moment calls for. And he goes, when I look at Ja, I see Iverson's floater. I see MJ's dunks. I see Westbrook's ability to penetrate. I see D-Rose's quickness. Wow.
I mean, I can't. How can you disagree with him either?
And-
They're exactly his play styles.
And called him a future Hall of Famer. He goes, now, I can't say that many good things about the guy because we're playing him tomorrow. But look what he said. Iverson, MJ, D-Rose, Westbrook, future Hall of Famer. Plays like superstars play like 4 guys. I mean, wow, you can't get more complimentary. And I'll say this about KD, too. I don't think he's usually politically correct. I think he usually says what he really feels. I mean, he wears his emotions on his sleeve. Wow, that's amazing.
No doubt. I think honestly for Ja he is a basketball fan's favorite player. You know, because he's just so unique and so rare. I mean, I think that describes it so well, is you've never seen a player do the things that he does. And so I think anybody who has a long history of watching the game, like Kevin Durant obviously does, can appreciate the uniqueness of what Ja Morant does.
All right, just crazy stuff. When he was asked by a reporter, and obviously this is a press conference as a preview because they were leaving and coming to Memphis, right? Guy asked him, are you surprised at all at the quick success that the Grizzlies have had? And he goes, no, I love the makeup of this team. I mean, he goes, they are hard-nosed guys. They all play with a chip on their shoulder. They are well-coached. They have a great mix of experience to go with that youth. I mean, a great deal of respect from KD. I was pretty taken aback at how much he likes the Grizzlies. And, you know, the Grizzlies are the number 2 seed in the West by a game and a half now. And they've got the next, 4 games at home, right?
That's right.
Although they're good teams. And the last one is with Golden State next week, which could end up being a game to ice second place. And without Curry in there, you got to think the Grizzlies are going to get second place. I haven't heard Taylor Jenkins' name mentioned that much as Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I don't know who I have heard though either. You know, I'm not sure.
That's true. That's fair.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've heard a lot of conversations about it. For my money, I don't see how you could go another direction. You know what I mean? Even if you just go by the baseline of, well, this team, I didn't expect them to be successful and they're really good. But you go even a step further in, I think the way that they play is somewhat revolutionary.
Well,
so 2 parts for me, Taylor Jenkins, my character.
But here's the deal. And we usually like the unexpected, and those guys usually win. But how about Phoenix?
And people love Monty Williams, too.
Well, and he wasn't Coach of the Year last year, was he?
He was not,
no,
I don't believe.
And he's got the best record in the NBA, so I think he has to be the number 1 favorite. You think Miami, now you rarely see veteran guys who've been around for 10, 12, 15 years win this thing unless they win a title. But did anybody really think Miami was going to be the number 1 team in the East?
No way.
Nobody thought that. So you got to put Spoelstra in there. That's 2. And then I would say Jenkins is 3. Has to be, right?
I would think so. I'm having trouble even coming up with other people. Maybe the new coach in Boston after Brad Stevens took over because Boston's doing so well.
Yeah.
But I'd be hard-pressed to find somebody else. And for my money, I love Taylor Jenkins. I think it would have to be him. But that's my money, and I'm biased, obviously.
No question. All right, last thing. Phil Mickelson, 3-time Masters champion, was announced yesterday. This is sad to me. This is really sad. It is the way it is because he unfortunately put his foot in his mouth and blew it. I mean, he's lost all these sponsors and everything else. He doesn't have to worry about money anyway. But still, it's his legacy that this is sad. It really is. But he is going to miss the Masters for the first time since '94. I don't think he's even going to be on the premises. I don't think he's coming to the Tuesday Champions Dinner. He's certainly not going to be in the par 3 thing. He's not involved at all. This would have been his 30th appearance at Augusta.
An anniversary.
Man.
Hey, but he also, with the pay-per-view events he'll make up for it in other ways.
Oh no, it's not the money.
It's just the sentiment.
It's the fact that he was at a place with legacy in golf. I mean, you think of greats, right? You think of Hogan, and you think of Tiger, and you're going to think of Nicklaus, and you're going to Byron Nelson and all the greats of the past who were multiple major winners. And Arnold Palmer. And you would have thought of Phil Mickelson. I don't know if you think the same way about him. And that, for me, is the sad part of it all. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. And a reminder, they need people. They're looking for self-motivated, goal-oriented people to join their family. If you're in sales, they got plenty of positions for that. If you are a technician, you must have a valid driver's license. They need people there. They need people in the service department. They need people for above-ground pools to install. Lots of opportunity, good pay, great people. That's 2120 Whitten Road, Memphis. Memphis at familyleisure.com or call 371-9090. Be part of a really good family leisure. And this portion of the show also brought to you by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and the tune-up. The tune-up's so important. Get it twice a year. Your system will last a long time. And also, you'll see those MLGW bills go down. Look, 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up in your house. They tune everything up. Then they go outside. They clean those outside units. You want your house to be cool and efficient this summer. Get the spring tune-up today. 384-3511 Conway Services. We take a quick break. When we come back, Tim Doolin on baseball. That's right around the corner on Wolo and Friends.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world at sports56whbq.com or on the Sports 56 app.
Getaway Sports Bar, the best kept secret in town, open noon to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Garvin, the owner, created this SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Rack them up on 6 pool tables. Coldest beer in town, grab you a pool stick and get you some good bar grub. 100% Angus burgers, big and moist chicken tenders. Daily happy hour Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. with long neck domestics, 225 Getaway Sports Bar, 4632 Winchester.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett and Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again, it's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
This show is presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Other dealerships can't make that claim in this era of no computer chips and shortage of new cars. They are priding themselves on still being understanding and taking care of you, not taking advantage. All you got to do is get there. I love going and seeing my friends at Homer Skelton Hyundai, and easy to get there. Highway 78, it's Lamar. First exit, Mississippi Craft Road, turn left. Go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai. And Tim Doolin about to join us here. He's brought to you by Eflin Insurance. That's they're the people that have a little different method of doing business. They get to know you. It's a collaborative thing. Matt's going to sit down with you, as I say, family. Maybe you're looking for the right home insurance or life insurance. Could even be an auto program. He's going to sit down with you, get to know your family, get to know your needs, get to know your pocketbook, and then figure out the best way to protect you. Same thing with commercial insurance. If you got a small to mid-sized business, that's really where Matt and his guys, they excel. Virtually unlimited access to programs to protect your small and mid-sized business. And he's a big Tiger guy, so if you're a Tiger fan out there, you guys will really get along. In his number, he's got GER for Tigers. 901-386-GER. That's 4777. Get protected the right way with a collaborative approach with the Eflin Insurance team. All right, let's talk a little baseball. Soon we'll have games. In fact, we already had some exhibition baseball. Do you know that Shohei Ohtani already 5 Ks in 2 1/3 innings against Kansas City? I mean, we got baseball, Tim Doolin.
We've got baseball. Well, there's no question. We know how good Shohei Ohtani is, but pitchers are definitely going to be ahead of hitters, and they usually are early in the season. But especially under the circumstances we're in, pitchers are definitely ahead of hitters. But we got baseball, and there's games on every day, and the Cubs play the Mariners today at 4 o'clock Eastern time. I'm sure you're going to be tuned in.
Can I get that game, or like if I have the MLB ticket, or if I siphon it off my son who's got it?
There you go.
Yeah. Really? Man, I may have to watch a little of that. Although I've got a feeling this is going to be a bad year for the Cubbies. I never know. I think it's going to be the Cardinals and the Brewers in the National League Central. But we'll get more into that. I noticed this is amazing. Have you seen the amount of money that was spent in free agency by baseball this year, by the teams?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the number. No. This
will blow you away. $3.26 billion.
They complain that they're not making any money.
$3.25 billion spent on free agency. Who do you think ended up the winner of free agency? I guess the Dodgers. Who benefited the most?
Obviously, I think the Dodgers definitely did with. I still can't believe the Braves didn't come up with a little bit more money to keep that guy. It just blows my mind.
Freeman, I just can't believe they
and I think
let him
that not only here's one of the things that blows my mind is the analytics can tell you whatever it tells you, and I'm sure the Braves were concerned about the longevity. Is he going to be still a good player? And I think we talked about it last time on the show.
Yeah.
Is that here's a guy that his swing plays, and he's a good hitter that hits with power, right? And so losing Seager but you've got Trey Turner, and then you pick up Freddie Freeman. I think they bettered their club, to be honest with you.
I agree. I don't understand. Is this like the Pujols deal where the Cardinals just had to say Angels win, or was Freeman? Because I don't think he was. This isn't quite as long, and he wasn't quite as old as Albert was. Is this a big mistake by the Braves?
Well, time will tell. I mean, I will give the Braves kudos in going out and getting the next best thing, from the A's. I think that was huge. Now they had to probably give up some prospects, but nonetheless, their minor league system is probably one of the tops in baseball. So they've done an outstanding job of managing effectively, being able to shore up. So it wasn't like they just got a lot worse at first base. They really didn't. But when you look at the clubhouse presence and all the things that guys like him and the Chipper Joneses of the organization have done for the Braves over the years, it's just hard for me to fathom they couldn't get him done. But it'll be interesting to see. I know that Austin Riley's probably glad that they've got somebody like Chapman right there behind him,
right,
or in front of him.
This is the last dance for Molina. Is Pujols going to join him in this last dance? What have we heard on that? Have you talked to Albert? Come on. You've had all week to get a hold of Albert.
I have not. I honestly have not. And I don't know. I think he's working out. I think he's just gonna sit back and wait and see what transpires over the next week or so. To be honest with you, I think waiting for him will be better than. And I think whether it's the Cardinals or wherever he ends up, they've got some things to figure out as well. Again, it's gonna have to be a situation. Whether it's the Cardinals, do they want to go back there and have him kind of get in front of things and be somewhat of the veteran face with Molina, or do they want to move on? And parts of me, it's hard to read John Mozeliak. I mean, I saw him on an interview the other day, and it was almost like it was all about him. He kept preaching the Cardinal way, and I get it, and they have a great culture there. But Albert was part of that culture, and he built it. He built it with Molina and with a lot of those players. Not with Mozeliak. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Let me ask you this. I really don't know the answer. I suspect that they like each other a lot, but what kind of relationship does Yachty and Albert have?
Oh, they've got a great relationship. There's no question. They've got a great relationship. And I can assure Molina would love to go out with Albert. And I think Albert would love to get back and finish his career in St. Louis, and he loves St. Louis. And you talk about not doing this deal for whatever reason they don't. Look at the deal they did with wasn't it Chapman, the left-handed hitter for the Cardinals, that they gave a long-term contract to? He just signed a free agent deal with the Rangers. He played first base.
Matt Carpenter.
Matt Carpenter, I'm sorry. Yeah, not Chapman. Matt Carpenter. I mean, that was a terrible deal for them to pay that guy what they paid him. And yet they're probably squabbling over, do we bring back Albert back for 1 year? I don't get it. So
I don't either. I would think you would do that in a heartbeat to make it a real summer of love. And believe me, they'll pack the place. Oh, they'll probably pack the place anyway. That is for sure. All right, last thing. I don't know if you've seen this story. Apparently Robert Manfred sent a letter to the Yankees a couple of years ago pertaining to sign stealing that could be very damaging to the commissioner, to, I guess, to baseball. And it's about the Yankees stealing signs using Apple Watches to pick up the signals. Have you heard about this at all? And how do you use an Apple Watch to steal signs? I don't get that at all.
Let me just tell you, it's so hard to be able to, and it's happened for years. Okay. But the ability and the timeliness of being able to recognize what the sign is and then make, some kind of signal or noise or whatever to relay that to the hitter, I mean, you don't have 2 or 3 seconds. So does it happen? It happens. And did it happen, obviously in Houston and years ago it happened. There were certain places I'm not going to mention, but there were certain places that teams would go and there would be a light in center field. And if the light, and you'd have to know where you're looking, and then it'd be like a stoplight. And if it was green, it was a fastball. If it was red, it was a breaking ball. And what's confusing to me is many players that have, played on that team that knew, and then they get traded to another team, how it didn't come to the forefront much quicker than it did. But nonetheless, I'm not a Manfred fan, so maybe this will, give baseball a reason to get him out.
Yeah, this well, you're right. It could be a very bad look for Rob Manfred because he knew in the letter, he states what he knew, and then he did not, when he released the information about stuff, he was not forthcoming. So it could be a bit damaging. Anyway, we'll talk a little bit more next year. You know what I want to talk next week, seriously? The impact the universal DH really has on the game. Because we have not addressed that. I love the game the way it was. I've had to accept it, right? Had to accept it with the American League. Now I got to accept it totally. I want to know from you how you think it will change the game. We'll get into that next week. Thank you, Timmy.
All right, guys. Have a good day. Thanks.
You too. We've got breaking news. Breaking news going on right now. Tim Jankovich out at SMU. Wow. I thought he might be leaving them to go to Kansas State, but Kansas State got somebody else, and he is out. North Texas's Grant McCasland is the leader to replace Jankovich. I'm stunned. And you know what? That means somebody, most likely, is going to end up with Kendrick Davis, the player of the year. Point guard. Available in the league. Ooh, Kendrick Davis is out there. Where will he end up? We know this. Tim Jankovich out in Dallas. We're going to talk a lot of hoops in just a minute with our Hall of Famer from the Sporting News. That would be Mike DeCourcy. He's brought to you in part by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Ken knows what a big decision it is. That's why he works closely with his clients. You're making a commitment. He makes that commitment to you, to excellence. And he works with you to make sure that will happen, whether that is a renovation with innovation. He'll bring you all the modern amenities to the older home that you love, but you want to update it. Or he'll make that dream home come true. If you're looking for land, he's got it. If you're not sure how to utilize the land that you have, he knows. He's been doing this with his dad for about 50 years. 901-751-1632. If you're ready to make the move, he's the guy that you make that move with. Build that dream home with the guy that has built so many. Go to kengarland.com, see what I'm talking about again. Then call 751-1632. You'll always know you made the right move when you call Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. We take the quick time out here. When we come back, Mr. Hall of Famer Mike DeCourcy. He is on the way.
The all-new Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Brought to you by Action 24/7, James Gaddis Jewelers, and Acura of Memphis. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Say there was a place, the perfect place for everything you need for tailgates and patios. Grills and chairs, charcoal and coolers. Everything to make a great game or a great day. That perfect place wouldn't be a warehouse. It's East Memphis Ace Hardware. Locally owned and operated at Quince and White Station, East Memphis Ace Hardware is where you'll find Benjamin Moore paints, local plants from local growers, and Black & Decker tools. Around the block, what you need in stock with people who know their tailgates. Welcome to East Memphis Ace Hardware, the home convenience store.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions. If you have damage to your home and have your insurance carrier involved, you need a great contractor. You also need a team that has seen claims of all shapes and sizes, residential or commercial. After our inspection, we'll share our findings and give you our professional opinion. Some people say you get what you pay for. However, our opinion is free. Trust the name you can depend on, like the tens of thousands of families Brian and I have served over the past 20 years here in the Mid-South. Brian Elder Roofing. We'll measure your roof from outer space and share our team's experience for your property and claim. Repaired roofs, replacement roofs, big roofs, tiny roofs, insurance roofs, flat roofs, TPO roofs, asphalt roofs, tile roofs, slate roofs, metal roofs. If your roof needs some love, call me. 901-867-0303 for Brian Elder Roofing and Contracting.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkhammer for the Sunrise Truck Corral. Going to buy a truck? Sunrise has new trucks, used trucks, big trucks, little trucks, custom trucks, factory trucks, long bed trucks, short bed trucks, regular cab trucks, extended cab trucks, crew cab trucks, 4-cylinder trucks, 6-cylinder trucks, 8-cylinder trucks, 2-wheel drive trucks, 4-wheel drive trucks, all-wheel drive trucks, GMC trucks, Chevy trucks, Ford trucks, Dodge trucks, diesel trucks, SUVs, light-duty trucks, heavy-duty trucks, trucks for rich folks, trucks for poor folks, trucks for young folks, trucks for old folks. Want a truck? Go online to the Sunrise Truck Corral, the old Hummer building in Bartlett.
Knotfest Roadshow is back.
Preservation of the moderate me.
Tonight, FedEx Forum. Featuring Slipknot.
I'll never kill myself to save my soul.
Plus special guests in this moment and wage war. On sale now. Buy tickets at livenation.com. Visit NotFestRoadshow.com for more. Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
One of my favorite segments of the week. We get to talk to the Hall of Famer from the Sporting News, Mike DeCourcy. And let's start, Mike, with the breaking news today. Are you surprised Tim Jankovich out at SMU?
I'm never surprised by athletic directors making ridiculous decisions, Dave.
Yeah.
I think they're framing it as a retirement. I'm not sure, so I withdrew some of the tweets I had. But I think if they wanted him back, that he would be back. And I did some research, and they have had 3 NCAA tournament bids in their history. 3. I'm sorry, not in their history, since 1990.
Okay.
3. I mean, 3 in 30 years, so he got you 1. Look, if you wanted to be UCLA, you should have done something about it a long time ago. But to fire a coach after 24 wins, which is the 7th best season in terms of victories in your rather dull history, I don't think that you can invent the idea that you should. Oh well, we should be in the tournament, so let's go. We can do better than this guy. I mean, it's just, it's ridiculous. That's why programs get worse. He didn't get us over the hump, so it's time to move on. Yeah, sometimes teams move on over the hill and down to the bottom. It happens all the time, and it usually happens because of foolishness like this. If you have somebody who's clearly proven that they can't do the job, I get it. But we just didn't get enough done is not a reason to move on.
Yeah, is Jankovich that old that he would retire?
He's 62. He's 62. I guess
from my vantage point, that ain't so old.
It's not that old, but you and I didn't make $2 million last year, so
no.
I think that makes a difference.
No. So tell me about Grant McCasland. Is he a great coach?
He's done a really nice job at North Texas. A really nice job. I mean, I think that one of the things that's interesting about that hire is we're talking about, I think I looked it up, and I'm going to, so I don't misquote the stat. I will go up, I'll go and look at it again. But he's done a very nice job with North Texas in the last couple of years. They won a tournament game last year against Purdue. They won the Conference USA Championship over Western Kentucky last year. They were clear winners in the regular season this year over UAB, Louisiana Tech, some very good teams. But here's the stat. This is the one that they're buying into. And look, I think he's a very fine coach. But here's the thing. All right, there are 358 teams in Division I. What do you think North Texas finished in tempo last year, which means how quickly you play.
Well, I would say you would go the opposite of Jankovic, who preferred, like Larry Brown when he was there, a slower pace, very, very deliberate. So I'm going to say he's 15 in pace.
Oh, no, David.
Oh.
They were 358.
Oh my gosh! So they're getting more deliberate, is what they're getting.
They're getting most deliberate, I think, is the accurate English way to say this.
Okay. Wow.
So, I mean, I really admire him as a coach, but if it were my program, I would not be doing that because I know I want to win, but I also want to be entertained. And that's not the kind of basketball that I'm excited to watch. And again, they're a tremendous defensive teams they have had, outperformed their conference station relative to being able to defend. I mean, it's not easy to be 10th in defensive, 21st in defensive efficiency playing in a mid-major conference because that's factored in. What league you're playing in is factored into how you're rated. And so he's a tremendous defensive coach. And he's not just a guy who has a great formula in terms of how he coaches his program, but he's a good game planner too, because they came up with some really cool stuff to take out Purdue last year. But again, that's what they're buying into. So good luck to them. For the time being, the Tigers are going to have to adjust to playing when they play against SMU a really slow pace. I don't like the idea of firing a coach because he lost one game or whatever it is, or two games. At the end of the day, they won 24 games, and they were a threat to make the tournament all year. They just didn't quite get there.
I will say this. I thought Jankovic would be leaving Dallas. I thought he was going to Manhattan, Kansas, his alma mater, K-State. I'm stunned that he got removed after he didn't get the K-State job. I really am surprised by all of that. All right. Winners and losers so far through 2 rounds of the NCAA. Obviously, the biggest winner, I would think, would be St. Peter's. Biggest loser, SEC, Big Ten. What do you think, Mike DeCourcy?
Well, no, I don't think the Big Ten, and not, I mean, at the end of the day, they still have 2 teams alive, and they have, Michigan was a surprise to beat such a terrific Tennessee team. Purdue is the team that needed to advance because they were the team that was best built to advance. I thought Iowa had a chance to make the Sweet 16, but I didn't think they had a chance to go farther than that. Honestly, I didn't think any of the Big Ten teams had a chance to go farther than the Sweet 16 other than Purdue. And so for them to be alive and to be in the region where the 1 is gone and the 2 is gone, there's an opportunity for them there. I think if they lose to St. Peter's, then you can start talking about the Big Ten having a clunker year in a tournament, but not if they have Purdue alive into the Elite 8. No, what people see is they see the number 9, and then they don't look past that. And yes, the Big Ten had 9 teams, but 5 of them were supposed to lose. They had 2 7s, 2 teams in the first 4, and Michigan, other than the teams at the top. Now, Illinois didn't play well, hadn't played well. Wasn't a surprise that Houston played great and beat them. Iowa was a surprise because they lost to a 12 seed, but Iowa had been a team that was more of a surprise to surge the way they did in late February, early March than they were necessarily to go out early. So people thought because the Big Ten got 9 teams that they should be construed as the best conference. They were never the best conference this year. They were the last 2 years, and one of those they bombed out, 1 out of 9 into the Sweet 16, and the other they didn't have a tournament. So sometimes it's just the way it happens. But the SEC, I'm sure that you could call that a disappointment because they've lost 3 teams that were seeded on the top of the bracket, 1, 2, 3. And 2 more that were seeded 6, and they only have 1 team left. I'm sure they're disappointed by that, and I think they should be because they had a Kentucky team that was capable of making the Final Four. They had a Tennessee team that, although its draw was very difficult, they were the ones that were most likely to give Arizona their best run, and they're gone after the second round. And Auburn, maybe disappointment, not so much because they lost in the second round, although that was disappointing, but because they performed so really dreadfully to be absolutely blown out by a Miami team that was one day hot, one day cold all season. I mean, they were embarrassed in that game. They were awful.
Back to Tennessee for a minute. I read the story today, and it kind of blew me away. In the last 14 years, Rick Barnes in postseason has as many Sweet 16 appearances as St. Peter's. 1 in 14 years. He's getting heat for that. Now, we know prior to that, he's gone to a Final Four and a couple of Elite Eights. When you look at a coach, how much do you look at total body? How much do you look at NCAA tournament?
Well, I think, that kind of record, it doesn't bother me what happened at the end of Texas. That's why he's at Tennessee. I mean, to me, I don't go back that far. I go back to Tennessee because, like I said, I mean, he would still be the coach at Texas if that weren't true.
Right.
I mean, if they'd made lots of sweet. So it doesn't prove anything to me, but it does. Why they would lose this year, I have a hard time understanding that. What was it that went into them missing so many open 3-point shots on Saturday? Because it wasn't Michigan. I mean, Michigan, it's not like all of a sudden they were playing Texas Tech and it just, and you're getting gummed up like that. Michigan's a really good, a really talented team has started to play a lot better basketball. And the fact that they could match buckets with Tennessee, not a surprise. I mean, they've got Moussa Diabate, who's going to be a pro.
Right.
They got Caleb Houston, who's going to be a pro. Hunter Dickinson, who was an All-American for us last year, not this, but certainly showed what he's capable of, and he's playing that way again. But that you go out and go, I think 2 for 17 was the number.
2 for 18, I think.
2 for 18. I don't get that. Why? Why all of a sudden do you miss that many shots? I can't put that all on Rick. I just think it was a poor performance by a team that was capable of significant things this year. I thought the problem for Tennessee was going to be its draw, and that I did not think that would develop until they got to the Elite Eight. I thought that's where, gosh, how did in our great year we get stuck with Arizona, which is probably the best team in the country. I thought that would be the reason they departed, not that they would lose to an over talented 11 seed. But to an 11 seed nonetheless. I mean, Michigan earned what they got. Trust me. I mean, there were some people who said they didn't even belong in the tournament.
All right, real quick, because I only got about a minute and a half. Your thoughts on Memphis, Gonzaga, and Arkansas?
I thought Memphis played great. I don't know that this team could have played much better in that game. I think the big issue was Jalen's fourth foul. I'm a believer in you play first half the way you want. 2 fouls, 3 fouls. You want to play a guy with 2 fouls. Okay, do it. That's your call. But if you're going to let him get the third, and he does, then I think you have to adjust your second half. I don't believe that, and I've said this for 40 years. I don't believe you start that guy in the second half because a lot of times big guys get fouls early because they're not totally in the flow, and and the refs are trying to establish what's not allowable. So you have to blow up your rotation and start differently in the second half if you got a guy with 3. And they sent him out, and he got the fourth, and he was basically done for the night. And that's my fear when you do that. Go out and see how you're playing with the other guys, and then if it's like, oh my gosh, we're just going to get buried here, and that may have been the case. He might have been in quick because Timmy started the second half with such a flourish, but. Once he got the fourth foul, it was really bad. They weren't going to be able to stop inside, and I'm disappointed in that because I thought the Tigers and I thought Penny did a great job down the stretch, and this team played really well on Saturday night. I thought it was a portent of great things to come. I think that there's a real possibility that the Tigers could be back to being one of the top 25 teams in the country within the next 2 years.
I'm with you. All right, Hogs and Zags.
They got a shot because Muss is such a great game plan coach. They've got 3 players that are as good as anybody that Gonzaga has. 2 players maybe as good as anybody Gonzaga has, and a really good third in Amude. But I just don't think they have enough guys. I mean, they have to really hold down a lot of players. So they have to find a way to make the lesser shooters from Gonzaga matter. That's what they have to do. Try to seal off the inside. Not going to be easy with the way they play, and then try to force the shots in the direction of the lesser shooters on Gonzaga's team. I have a feeling that the Zags are going to come out and pop threes. I think it's going to be a big day for their perimeter game, and I think that the Razorbacks are going to wind up on the plane home. But they've had a fabulous year, and hey, they could prove me wrong and be still playing on Saturday.
We shall see, Mike. We'll talk next Tuesday. We'll have it pared down even more.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News. He's brought to you by Old Dominic, the proud hometown partner of the Tigers. It's been fun talking about Old Dominic. They're good people. If you go down there, you'll learn even more. You can take a tour right there at 305 South Front Street where they make these great spirits. It's the only distillery tour in Memphis, 45 minutes. They call it a sensory journey. You begin with history of Domenico Canella. You get a real lesson on how they craft spirits. You get it from grain to glass. You'll learn the art of distilling. And then the best part, yeah, you get to try it. They give you a curated tasting of the portfolio of spirits. By the way, they have a great bar. So if you're looking for something a little different after hours, go. It's an elegant bar, not stuffy, and you can fancy a old-fashioned and check that out with the bourbon made from Old Dominic. It's great stuff, Old Dominic. We thank Tim Doolin and Mike DeCourcy. We'll see you tomorrow.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's